Welcome back to Do Not Rescue. We're continuing on our series about the survival pack. Today we're going to be talking about shelter and sleeping. There are many different options when it comes to shelter for a survival pack. For this video I'm going to focus on two. The first option that I want to point out is a tarp shelter. This is comprised of a few different components. There's a tarp itself, there's a ridge line, which is a piece of rope that strings between two trees. There are also stakes and tension lines. There will be an entire video dedicated on how to set this up in the future. The other option I'd like to highlight is a survival tent. You can find these online. This is one from a company called Lynn, not sponsored. These are generally small tents that can hold one or two people. These are very, very handy. They're relatively inexpensive. Highly recommend finding one. Alright, now that we've talked about shelter, let's talk about sleeping. Obviously, the most important thing for sleeping is to have a sleeping bag. This is the one that I have, just like my pack is from the company Alps, again, not sponsored, but there are a ton of different options out there. When thinking about a sleeping bag, you really need to think about where you live, what the climate is like, as well as what your budget is. Some sleeping bags are designed specifically for a colder climate, so if you live somewhere where it's very cold, I recommend taking that into consideration as well. I also want to mention that when you're packing your survival pack, your sleeping bag should go on the bottom. It should be one of the first things you put in. This goes back to the concept that I mentioned in the survival pack intro video of the ABCs of packing. Generally, your sleeping bag is going to be the last thing you need out of your survival pack at the end of the day, so it should be on the bottom. This also helps keep the pack balanced. Now let's go ahead and talk about the sleeping pad. This is another thing that's very important. It's going to create a barrier between you and the ground, which helps retain a lot more heat, as well as keeps your sleeping bag from getting too dirty. Again, mentioning the ABCs of packing, generally you should pack this by strapping it to the outside of the pack if that's possible. That will help keep it balanced. Your assignment for today is linked in the description, like always. You're going to find a sleeping bag online that you think is going to work for you, a sleeping pad, and a kind of shelter that you want, as well as to write a few sentences about why you think that's the best for you. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.